Hello, good morning everybody. I'm Fede Getmi, I'm the Executive Director of Club UNESCO. I'm a youth advocate and I want to add something on youth and his relation with politics and civil society. In Tunisia, before 14 January, we have a category of youth NGO. And you can imagine which place of the youth in the society. We are 35% of the population are young people. After the revolution, we have a new laws of party, new laws of NGO, which I'm contributing to writing with the World Bank. It is so different from Sweden. I know the context in Europe that there is a mix between NGO working in politics, and there is a category of NGO, political NGO. The choice here in Tunis is to avoid an NGO, political NGO, because the context and the parameter is so different. In the Arab world, as you know, we have the left and the right. And we can use the NGO as the example of Egypt, and we learn a lot of the success story, the stories and the historic background of some ancient, let's say, Egypt model and Jordan model with their law. And now I know that the law of NGO is very restrictive in Jordan and in Egypt, and we can speak after how we can really have a young among an NGO in this region who can take decision to change. This is a question after for all the participants. So I'm returning back to Tunisia context, saying that the NGO now, we have a flourish period of NGO. It's easy. It takes between 7 to 2 months to have an NGO. So we have a lot of NGO working with youth, and it's youth NGO. The problem that what's model that we will follow? What's the kind that we will work with? Because we haven't, maybe not like Europe, a council, for example, youth council. We haven't youth policy yet in Tunis. This is some how to say, some idea to push on creating a youth policy involving political parties. Because in political party it's restricted on for money. There is a law that say that they cannot have money from any side without a follow-up of the budget. That it's very restrictive. There is political young who belong to politics, but for the NGO, they should in the law they shouldn't be member of any party. When they found an NGO, because after they can use their NGO to promote their party. This is the context now in Tunisia.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أنا اسمي أحمد نجيب، وأنا أحد شباب ثورة 25 يناير، وأنا هنا في تونس الحبيبة العزيزة معشوقتي عشان بحضر مؤتمر منظمته نظام المعهد السويدي، يضم شباب من مصر، تونس، ليبيا والسويد. هو مؤتمر لشباب القادة، هو للتشبيك بين هؤلاء الشباب والتحدث عن مستقبل العمل الشبابي في المنطقة، والحديث عن المواطنة والسلام والحركات الوطنية وكيف تؤثر في مسار الديمقراطية في هذه البلدان التي تغيرت مؤخرا. أعتقد أن هذا الشكل من أشكال التشبيك مهم للغاية في هذه المرحلة. أوطاننا تتغير، أحلامنا واحدة، فيجب أن يكون عملنا مشترك إن لم يكن موحدا.
برعاية المركز السويدي كان بين شباب ليبي ومصري وتونسي وسويدي في عملية تفعيل المشاركة السياسية للشباب، وإحنا خرجنا في مظاهرات في ثورات من أجل الحرية والكرامة والعدالة، ولكن بعد هذه الثورة أو الربيع العربي شاهدنا أن لم يكن الكثير من الشباب راضي عن العملية نفسها المسار السياسي، وشاهدنا بعض العزوف من الشباب عن المشاركة السياسية الفعالة. هذه دورة لتفعيل المشاركة السياسية ولبناء زخم وتراكم للمشاركة السياسية، سواء بشكلها العصيان المدني أو بالشكل ما يسمى بالمقاومة السلبية، أو بناء تحالفات والتخطيط الاستراتيجي مع كل الميجر اكتورز الموجودين، وكيف ان الواحد يبني تحالفات وتخطيط استراتيجي لمشاركة سياسية فعالة.
كيف يمكن يعني تعميم مثل هذه الورشات ودورات الشباب؟ يعني نشاهد ثم من الشباب الجمعيات اللي زي مثل الجمعيات، كيف يمكن نستفيد يعني للشباب عامة؟ كيف
هو هذا الشباب جاي من مختلف الخلفيات، بعض منه في أحزاب، بعض منه في منظمات مجتمع مدني، بعض منه ناشط سياسيا، فهو يشارك الخبرات ويطور الأدوات للمشاركة السياسية. ومن ثم أهم شيء في عملية المشاركة السياسية والتخطيط الاستراتيجي هي عملية التشبيك. هذا الشباب اللي هو ممثل عن شباب آخر يشبك مع المجتمع المدني ومع المجتمع، ولبناء تحالفات ممكن يوصل صوته ويصبح فعال ويكون له يوصل مطالبه، وبالتالي يؤثر على عملية القرار السياسي.
قدم روحك.
أي زهراء لنجي، خبيرة في مجال المجتمع المدني، جندر سبيشالست متخصصة في المرأة ومن المرأة الليبية من أجل السلام.
If you take it both words, civil, which means by the people, and society, which means a group. There's a big difference between public institutions and the civil society. So any group of people that has a certain activity in the public sphere could be labeled as civil society. Organizations, and when I say parties, because parties more or less work for the benefit of the society and of the community and is a grouping. In some countries, it is not labeled or categorized as civil society. That does not make it, that does not eliminate it from the concept of civil society. If in Sweden it's not labeled as civil society, in other parts of the world it is considered civil society, and it's anything that works in the public sphere for the general good or for general good or for the good of a specific group.
Thank you. So we're saying that there are different understandings and applications of civil society. So we're here basically to break the dogma of civil society. So civil society is a grouping in a society which would function as what? Now we are putting the basic outlines, the basic definitions of civil society. We said a grouping, it's not in the public sphere, to do what?
Provide service for development and society.
To?
Provide service.
Provide services.
And working in development.
This is what civil society is. Civil society is and functions as. So it's a grouping in public providing services, huh? What about
I think that they can have different aims. It doesn't have either that a group of people that want to make a change or just have a common interest. But
maybe second, that exclude any kind of religiosity in public sphere, which mean that the church and maybe the religious group are excluded to be part of the civil society, even they are non-governmental organizations.
For me, I think civil society is also responsible for the awareness, but I'm not sure if it's the role of mosques or church to be part of this awareness, or this is right or wrong, I don't know, apart from religious awareness, but I mean for the other issues that...
Here are the functions, it's awareness. Okay. But you're not sure. Civil society, now we're talking about civil society as a structure, intermediary structure. It's non-governmental and it's non-profit. It's about the society taking an initiative, okay? And it's about serving as an intermediary structure between the society and the government. The form and the function we're discussing. So basically, it's intermediary structure between the public and the government. Whatever that, we could exclude what forms, what corresponds to the values. If there are values, especially when you say civil, what does that mean? Is it religious is okay? When you say civic or civil, does that mean tolerance? When we say tolerance, does religion, it runs antithetical to it, or what?
I mean, faith-based movements in general are discriminatory in the sense that they are welcoming people who are believers of that movement, that system. So in that sense, we can say that certain civil society movements might be discriminatory.
Yeah, but they're discriminatory, but they're open to anyone to come and join. Don't say if you apply,
if you, for example, say, like, for example, we have a movement in Sweden, Swedish Muslims for Peace. All the members are Muslims.
Yeah, because that's a common interest. That's what.
So does that make it a civil society or not?
But that.
I think it is a civil society. Yeah.
But that's a common interest.
Yeah.
And let's say someone is not Muslim, wanting to apply, they wouldn't refuse you.
I don't know that. I'm just saying there might be a sense of discrimination within the agendas of the civil society.
Everything is discrimination if you look at it from the other view.
Yes, that's true.
Because one view is a common interest, and whoever is not in that common interest with you is basically discriminating. So it works for two ways.
Okay, but if you,
It's non-profit, for example. There's some groups are taking some benefits and whatever. So are we defining civil society, or are we seeing or maybe scanning what's the actual civil society that we have, or we are just saying the definition in the book?
it's not in the book, and we're not using the book. So we're opening up, but we understand that there are terrible applications and implementations and corruption in civil society. This we can discuss it, but the idea of civil society is that it is non-profit, non-governmental. It's a very interesting point.
I think the political parties is not part of civil society, because the parties it's looking to take a place in the government and to be a decision maker. But the civil society should be the connection point between the people and the government. I mean, monitoring, observation, advocacy, it's all rules of civil society. So if there's a political party with specific ideology, they can't play this role.
Agenda to change the state policies.
I think political parties have
the role to express the strategies of the country, of each country, by the presence of majority in some assembly. For that reason, the presence of civil society is to express pressure, observators, and expresses different hopes and dreams of different of the society by the presence of clubs, associations, and NGOs.
Okay, so civil society. So what you were saying is that any grouping could be civil society, and basically you're saying that a grouping with an interest and wants to influence, as you were saying, not necessarily wants to influence.
I mean, like, if you have clubs or a common interest, which is maybe not as actual today, as we're more talking about civil society from wanting to make changes, but I just wanted to add that other groups can also be part of it, like sports.
Yes. How can we build it a step further? Now, our definition was basically breaking dogmas and lifting the blinders and opening and having a more inclusive definition of civil society. But then how would we take this a step further and make this civil society really effective and really plays a role in civil society, in the society? This is what we are here today to discuss. So after including maybe tribal, or we're excluding tribal, including religious, excluding religious, how can these structures, which are basically non-governmental, they're not the state, we agreed upon that, and they are not private sector, they're non-profit, how could they really bring and introduce change and influence our society? Presented by any of the political parties, and we do any فكرة I'm not مش لاعب. Is this a political statement in itself? I'm not playing, أنا مش لاعب. Let's discuss it. Okay, we want to discuss it. Yes.
Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no passive way of because this is one word that you have just used. For me, there is no passive standpoint. Any standpoint can be regarded as a positive. Yes. Not playing could be a positive, yes, like a positive standpoint. Like organized in a certain way, or if like we have been discussing yesterday, if it is like a larger group of people decided to do that, and like engaging in political parties is not the sole way of engaging in politics. You can be very much politicized and very much engaged in politics without being affiliated to any political party. And for example, in Egypt, this is something that is very much apparent. Several political activists are actually independent. They do not belong to any political party or even any political ideology. You cannot just label someone as leftist or liberal or whatever. You have your own standpoints regarding certain things, and you are very much engaged in the society, in the public sphere, and this is the term that I am fond of. So you are engaged in the شأن العام, in the public sphere, in the interest of your people in general, but not necessarily propagating or advocating a certain, for example, a candidate in the parliamentary election, for example, or a certain, economic perspective. You are not doing that, but you are just concerned about the good of your people in general, be it the people of just your neighborhood, of your street, of your building, or the people of your country in general. And for me, this is the political standpoint.
Great ideas.
Even if you like it or not, even or if you say it or not, it is that.
I think that participating in the political life can be a political statement, but it can be also a lack of the conscience about the political life, because people didn't used to enjoy their right to share their thoughts in the political life, especially in the Arabic world. It's caused by regime of our president. So I think that we need time to tell people that sharing their thoughts in the political life is a right. It's their right, and they must enjoy it. Also, we need time to change the mentality. That's it.
I think there was a difference between being politicized or being doing politics and being interested by politics. I could be interested by what is going in Tunisia or in Arab worlds, etc. But I'm not a politicized person. I'm not doing politics. I can participate as a member of a civil society to change a political system or to change something in political system. I'm not politicized, but I'm interested in politics. That's all.
Okay, I will ask a question for all of you, and I wish all of you to think as Tunisians, Swedish, Egyptians, and Libyans as well, before and after. How we all deposed our governments, our regimes, and the role of youth and the role of civil society in achieving that, and after toppling the presidents, how much effective are our strategies as civil society and youth? Okay?
By all signature and go to the government or the NTC and do this. Okay.
Thank you. This is really, really
relevant. Yes. And what could we learn from this story? We have in Libya and in all of your countries a majority of youths, which is an opportunity. But what is needed is a clear agenda that this is what we want to do. And here we see that maybe you should focus on the larger issues so you don't get stuck in the small issues that scatters, but to get the big issues, and this is what we want, and become a vast, many people pushing on the ones in power and say this is what we want, because now there's lacking of formal representation in the parliament and on the country. Actually, all the people, all the world talking about the youth want to change. The youth did the revolution, but on papers, formal, there's nothing. I think it's all we have the same problem. Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, switch. So these points we put it as we can't consider it in good way if we start to think how to use it in a proper way. Like there is a majority of youth, 67 I think %. So they have ideas and they have the power, they can do things, but the problem, because they don't have clear agenda needed. You can't go to the government and ask them, we want to participate, so what's your program, what's your agenda? They don't focus on specific issues. And also we have this kind of people, which is very normal, found everywhere, that they don't think ever about politics and elections. They just want to take their salaries at the end of the month and have the basic needs in their life. So we should deal with this. I mean, as a youth, we should think about these large issues that we have, our problems, like unemployment, because it's a bad thing. I mean, it's most of the important reasons, and all over the countries that have the revolution there, because there's a lot of people, youth doesn't have work. But we can use it in a good way. They will start to think why they don't have jobs, we don't have opportunities. It's because of the 1, 2, 3, and when you recognize your problems, you can start to put a plan and participate in political
That's what we said about most of our points that we wrote here, that they can be both opportunities and strengths and weaknesses depending on how we use the tools we have in order to try to influence the people in power.
Also, the mentality, as Huda said, we have. I think in our countries we have the ideas that the politics is a dirty game, and in Libya we have Gaddafi says in his green book that who's part of the parties, he's cheating the country, and old people and youth still have this idea in their minds. They don't want to be part of these things. We should start to work on this and clear for them that if they participate and if they participate to choose the one who representing them, the correct one, you know what I mean, okay.